For some, yoga can be a little intimidating, but those who teach yoga will tell you all you need to practice is a body in any form. Adaptive yoga is a specialized class that meets people where they are, whether they use a wheelchair, have limited mobility, or full range of motion. Carrie Beal in Greenville, South Carolina has more on how adaptive yoga is helping people of all abilities.
So we are going to start wherever you would like.
In a studio that overlooks the Swamp Rabbit Trail.
How you can turn obstacles you face into opportunities.
Is a class that encourages all.
But just try to get really comfortable.
It's called adaptive yoga.
And as you breathe out, it helps it float down.
It really helps me with my spasticity in my back between my shoulder blades and my legs.
A drunk driver hit Hunter Lawrence in 2020, leaving him paralyzed from the chest down.
It broke several ribs, broke my sternum, lacerated my spleen, and collapsed my left lung.
To stay healthy, he needs to continue moving his lower body.
And then as I cue you, you'd squeeze your bottom.
Otherwise, he can end up with a serious blood clot.
And exhale down.
Which can turn into a pulmonary embolism and travel to your lungs and your heart.
Adaptive yoga is keeping that blood flowing.
Turn your hands out and then push the air down. Yoga allows you to practice mindfulness, breath work, and being present. And whether that's through just breath work, whether that's through moving your body, that's an important practice for everyone to have.
Amanda Madry is also trained as an occupational therapist, so she knows how to handle people with mobility challenges.
You could expect the class to be modified to fit your needs. So it really could be if you have back pain, if you have a spinal cord injury, if you have an amputation, if you have arthritis, it's yoga for anyone and everyone.
You can be sitting in a chair, lying on the ground, or using a mobility aid.
And as you breathe out, you're letting it go.
Hunter says in the year that he has taken up yoga, he has seen big changes.
I learned a lot of new stretches that I was not taught in physical therapy to adapt to being able to do yoga, specifically in the wheelchair.
And then as you exhale, just gently sweep your arm down, tucking your chin in towards your chest.
It's worth a try.
I love that there's a young person in this story. It was so heartbreaking what happened to him, but I think that sharing the story might help more people think about yoga as a consideration. It looks like it is something that's easy. It doesn't seem like maybe it's not hard enough, but when you practice yoga, you really do experience change. And so it's such a great thing for people to do. And I have to say, I love occupational therapists. And a lot of people don't know what they do, but they are the heart and soul of a lot of things when it comes to aging successfully.
Absolutely, and living successfully. I mean, after an accident like that, he's young.
Yeah.
And the level of just movement and mobility that he has after those injuries, and to attribute that back to what he's doing and stretching and staying active.
You know, the thing I love about yoga is progress is usually a surprise. Mm-hmm. I would do a stretch or do a movement and then go further and think, how did that happen? Because I wasn't really working towards it. And then the calmness that just comes as a surprise is like a byproduct. And so you get the flexibility and the strength, you get the socialization, but then you get that inner calm. And so whatever the reason you have to have it modified, you get the calm to be able to help you through.
And that's why it's such a great thing for stress. But in addition to that, it's just an example that it doesn't matter what your physical limitations are. You have a way to exercise, to get blood flowing and all that. And it's adaptive. The person doesn't have to fit the pose, but the pose is going to fit the person. So for whatever your limitations are, you're still going to be able to exercise, get flexibility, get that calmness, reset your central nervous system, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I always thought that yoga had to be, you kind of had to be bendy. You kind of had to be like those little rubber guys and bend around.
But you don't.
Yeah, I'm not a Flex Armstrong for sure. So
yoga is for everyone, and it is for everybody.
And you saw everybody in there, the different ages. You had the older people, the younger people. But
And an instructor certified in adaptive yoga, and especially an occupational therapist, they would know how to adapt it for each person in there and whatever challenge they have.